Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys Alex and Ryan. So today, Yankees play the Rangers, wrap up a 3-game series, split the doubleheader yesterday. The Yankees seemed to play well in the first game and then not so well in the second game. They bowl them out 8-0 and then lose 9-4. Jazz Chisholm continues to mash, has 5 homers in 7 games. Guy's a monster. So love to see that. But at the same time, we want to talk about the outfield and specifically Alex Verdugo in left field. Jason Dominguez played left field in AAA yesterday. Are they getting him ready to potentially get promoted? And you've said this many times, Ryan. When it comes to winning a World Series, you should not be worried about players having their feelings hurt or feelings upset. You know what I mean? They need to win baseball games. They need to play at the top of their abilities. And the Yankees have not exhausted all of their options in left field, right? Verdugo is having, by most accounts, his worst offensive season ever. And the Yankees cannot sustain another worst offensive season ever. They're already getting that from Gleyber Torres, and they're already getting that from DJ LeMahieu. So now you have to ask yourself, do the Yankees call up Jason Dominguez, maybe in September when the service deadline, kind of passes and they don't have to accrue any time there? Do you call up Dominguez maybe even sooner and have him bat leadoff? Having a Dominguez, Soto, Judge, Wells, or Stanton Wells lineup at the top 5 is dangerous. You have a switch hitter batting leadoff and Dominguez that hits the ball hard. He can elevate things. He looked phenomenal last year before the injury, obviously. What is your opinion now on Verdugo, how he's playing? He has, 7 hits in his last 5 games. He's been looking better. Still not great to start August. Still hitting 241. Not very good. Is there a realistic path here where you see the Yankees transitioning to Dominguez, even though, Verdugo's a very good defensive outfielder, but offensively, there's a lot left to be desired here. His slugging metrics are bad. He has good plate discipline, but he's not going to hit home runs for you. And if you're a lefty and not capitalizing on the short right porch in Yankee Stadium, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? What are we really doing here? Because that's the easiest part to hit the ball, and not really capitalizing on it. So, what are your thoughts on Verdugo and thoughts on maybe promoting Dominguez over the next couple weeks?
Yeah, so what initially stands out to me about Verdugo is, as you mentioned, he's having the worst year of his career offensively. It feels like he's overcast in his offensive role. The Yankees, I know he's been playing a little better as the leadoff hitter, but I don't think it's him. I don't think it's a matter of the leadoff spot brings something out in him. I genuinely just think he's getting a little bit warm after playing at literally being the worst player in baseball. That was an exaggeration. I think we went through the stats. There was a 1.5 month stretch where he had the worst WRC plus and the worst F4 for any hitter in the sport. And look, I'm not sitting here and saying that Verdugo, he's gonna, he's one of the worst players in the world or whatever, but I mean, he's a 299 OBP, right? His WRC plus is Oswaldo Cabrera's WRC plus. I don't feel like we have to sit here and pretend he's a leadoff guy. Honestly, I'd rather see Grisham play than Verdugo. Grisham has a higher WRC plus and play center field. It allows you to move Judge off of center, and Judge isn't necessarily the best defensive center fielder in the world. He's adequate. He'll play. He can play there. You're not going to lose games because of him in center. But I feel more comfortable with him in left field. For me with Verdugo, it's just that he doesn't bring a lot of power at all. He hasn't hit a home run since July 6th. We're I remember when that was the whole thing. Volpe hadn't hit a home run since July. It was a 2-month stretch. And granted, he's cooling off a little bit after getting red hot after the All-Star break, but I think it'll even out. Just Verdugo doesn't really. It just doesn't. There's just nothing here for me to love in the offensive profile. And then kind of looking at Dominguez, do I think he should come back and lead off? That's where I might push back. I'm fine with the Yankees throwing, platooning at the leadoff spot, whether it's Gleyber some days, Chisholm other days. I'm fine with that. But I think Dominguez, he's hit a slump in AAA. He's been pretty brutal as of late. The oblique issue that's really hurt him. But I think a lot of it too is he's hitting some balls hard and not getting good results. I don't necessarily feel concerned about Dominguez at all. He is one of the better hitters I've seen come through this organization, through the system. It seems like a timing thing. It's something that I think he can correct pretty quickly. Looking at the rest of looking at the rest of this team, the offensive depth is not a problem. I think that Chisholm, Wells, Stanton, those are your next 3 bats in terms of not necessarily putting them in order. I'm just saying the next 3 guys after Soto and Judge in terms of your best hitters. I think Volpe is okay. He's an okay major league hitter. That's kind of what I assign him as. Rice, the underlying metrics are really good. It feels like he should be able to go on a tear soon. It's very similar to what happened with Wells early in the year, where we were like, oh, the underlying metrics are good. He has good at bats. He hits the ball hard, and it just clicked for him one day. It might be a timing issue. I think Rice's load might be a little bit too much. He kind of, it takes him a while for him to get set. I wonder if there's a way for him to, don't worry. I tried to, when I said load, I made sure to like be very careful. I dodged a bullet. I will say, like, I was consciously thinking, I was like, how am I going to word this in this episode? But yeah, no, like, my point more so is that, the offense doesn't feel like a problem. The pitching, right? Like, it's those blow-up innings. Like, against the Angels, they had, like, and again, that game yesterday. This week, they've just had blow-up innings. Stroman's start, it was just a blow-up, right? It was a blow-up start. He just couldn't keep the Yankees in the game. This team needs to be able to stay in, like, the pitching staff needs to keep this team in the game. They just do. The pitching staff has not been good enough. They can't really shuffle guys around. They kind of have to wait for guys like Schmidt to come back, wait for a guy like Hamilton to come back. Do I think the bullpen's a massive problem? Not really. I feel like Weaver just had the worst outing of his Yankee career. Hopefully it's the worst outing of his Yankee career. It was really bad. I mean, the encouraging thing is that Rodon pitched really well. Cole was remarkable. Like, I think there were positive signs. I hate to sound like Aaron Boone here in that regard, but I think there were positive signs from yesterday's doubleheader, that being the offense and the pitching, starting pitching. Now it's a question of just, can they get everything online together? Because it feels like they'll get disconnected in some places. The bullpen will find it, but they're not hitting. The rotation will find it, and their bullpen blows it. Their lineup finds it, and they can't stop a nosebleed. Like, they'll give up runs every inning. So, Alex, it feels like at some point, like, it's just got to click as a whole. And these are shit teams. Like, it's frustrating to play a level of baseball. They have to be better than this. And I'm not saying Dominguez isn't a variable that could affect that. I'm just saying, like, I think Dominguez's contributions won't matter as much as the pitching figuring it out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at the moment, you kind of look at where the Yankees are, and you look at their strengths and weaknesses. The rotation's still a major question. We'll see what happens when Clark Schmidt comes back, how they operate. The bullpen, obviously, Tonkin and Weaver kind of get beat up a bit, but Garrett Cole looked great yesterday. 1 earned run. They pulled him at 90 pitches. That was planned, and they had 10 Ks in that 90 pitches. Excellent. So, looking at this team as a whole, there's signs of growth, signs of progress. Of course, as you mentioned, most importantly, they need to beat bad teams. And listen, as I said earlier in the episode, exhausting all of their options is not just a requirement, it's a necessity. If you don't see what Jason Dominguez has, you're just doing yourself a disservice, right? If Jason Dominguez comes in and offers you a switch-hitting bat and you lead him off and he gives you power, he gives you discipline, he gives you some really good at-bats, and he plays decent enough defense, why like, you're gonna have to use him the rest of the year. And look, I know it might piss off Verdugo and it might create some, I guess, a lack of trust in the club. I don't really care if the Yankees are winning games, to be honest with you. All it takes is Dominguez to step in, have a couple of really good games, and everyone's gonna forget that Verdugo even exists, right? And as you said, you'd rather have Trent Grisham batting. At least he has some power. He's an excellent Gold Glove level defender as well. I don't think and look, Boone is like a player's coach, right? He always has been. He doesn't want to like rub guys the wrong way. He doesn't want to make those tough decisions. But if you don't see what Dominguez can do, and he ends up getting called up and playing well, like there's like a worst case, bad case scenario here. Like, look, the Yankees lose nothing from giving Dominguez opportunities, right? They lose nothing, right? All they have is to gain. If Dominguez plays well, you now have a switch-hitting, like, tremendous offensive threat at the top of your batting order, wherever you want to put him. But I imagine you might want to lead him off. You have an asset there, right? A true asset. And by the way, Dominguez and Juan Soto are buddies. Like, they're friends now. So, like, you might have some dynamic there, at least like some sort of mentorship happening at the MLB level. And at least long-term, you're going to get that. But the Yankees need to see if that could be the future of their lineup now, right? Not only are you going to be seeing if Dominguez can help you in the playoffs and help you right now, like, make moves in the AL East, especially with the Orioles winning yesterday, taking a lead. In my opinion, if you're the Yankees, you also want to see, if we're about to give Juan Soto a stupendous amount of money, is having Dominguez hit in front of him create some sort of dynamic duo at the top of this order that could be special for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, right? Like, you kind of want to get a look at that, right? Like, this might be an underrated narrative, but I'll let you get your take on it. I want to see what Dominguez could do at the leadoff spot, because I want to see if he helps Soto be better. If opposing pitchers have to be aggressive with Dominguez and give him pitches to hit, not only is he going to hit them, he's going to hit some home runs, right? And Verdugo has 10 homers this year. Dominguez has the capacity to hit 20, 25 plus homers a season as a young player. The Yankees need to see what they can do with him. They need to see what he can do at the MLB level now, because if they don't and they waste the opportunity and Verdugo stinks it up in the playoffs and he doesn't help down the stretch, we're going to be wondering what the hell they were thinking, right? We're going to be wondering what the hell's going on, because it's their job to make the right decisions, and ultimately the right decision here is to play the best player available, and Dominguez might be the best player available.
Yeah, look, I mean, I just want to clarify. I don't think, I don't have a problem with the Yankees. Like, I realize, like, in this episode, I kind of say, like, I don't really care either way with what they do, and I want to clarify. I do care that Dominguez gets at bats with this team. I just view the pitching as more of like where my brain is a little more worried or concerned, or more like that's where my focus is at. But when I look at where this team is going, where this team is at as a group, you can see why they could win a World Series. You also see why they could get stomped in the playoffs, right? It's weird. You're kind of getting to see. You get to see two versions on this team, and whether it's, it changes every night or it changes during a doubleheader, right? Like, they'll play one of the cleanest, fundamentally sound games you'll see, and then they'll lay an egg in the next game. You'll see reasons why they can win. If Carl Jordan pitches the way he's been pitching lately, they're going to win a lot of games. They're gonna do really well in the postseason. If Garrett Cole strikes out, everybody on planet Earth the way it was like butter, man. It was I don't know if I've ever seen Garrett Cole look that good. And I've got to like, if I were to rank in the pantheon of Garrett Cole starts, just from a pure dominant standpoint, that might be the best he's looked as a Yankee. Like, it was up there. That curveball, that fastball, everything was incredible all throughout that entire start. But if Luke Weaver gives up 5 runs, they're not going anywhere. If, Jazz Chisholm isn't standing on third base when a force out, that weird play, we're not going to win games. If, I don't know, if the Yankees can't come through running scoring position, if they can't hit left-handed pitching, like Cody Bradford, he's not bad, but God, man, Cody Bradford's blowing 90 by guys. Like, I saw 89 blown by DJ LeMahieu. I saw 90 blown by, guys. Like, that's not going to work for us. That's not going to work in the postseason. You can't win games doing that. This team is, I think everyone that's like, this team can't win a World Series, like, I think that's the crop of people I can find myself very much disagreeing with. This team is flawed. No doubt about it. This team is not perfect. This team has wrinkles. They have issues. They are not very good at some things. They are concerning in other areas. They aren't deep at some positions. But they are more than capable of winning the World Series. And we see that team sometimes. It's just a question of whether we're going to see that team in the right moments. Like, that's baseball, right? Like, every team's asked themselves that. For the Phillies, like, can they get decent starting pitching and not give up 11 runs a game from, like, they're getting their ass handed to them every night, basically. Is that the team they're going to see in October? We'll see. The Dodgers are, like, I think 2 games up on the Padres. They've been playing baseball for like 2 months, 3 months now. Is that the team they're going to see in October? Or are they going to see the one that has, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Jack Flaherty, all those studs, those stars? We'll see. For the Orioles, like, are you going to get Dean Kramer giving up 6 runs, or are you going to get a Corbin Burns gem and your bullpen comes in and shuts it down? Is Gunnar Henderson going to hit 2 home runs, or is he going to make 2 errors in the game? Like, it's the Yankees are, just as every other team, they have reasons they won't win the World Series, but they also have reasons they will. I think Dominguez can become part of that equation. If Jason Dominguez plays well, the ceiling of this team, it's incredible. Also, the young group, right? Like, you have Soto, Jazz, Volpe, Wells, Rice, Dominguez. Like, these are all young players. If you keep Soto for the long term, you get a nice young crop of players coming through. I'm sure I missed out on somebody. I guess on the pitching side of the ball, talking Keel and Schmidt. I know Stanton isn't, and then Stanton and Judge are like your 2 old guys, I guess. I know LeMahieu technically gets penciled in at something here. Torres, I don't think he's going to be here next year. I think that's kind of a foregone conclusion. You can fill in internally. But, Alex, like, they're younger, they're faster, they hit for power. They have some guys who throw hard in that bullpen. Mike Leiter Jr. looks like a stud. Cole and Rodon are finding it. It's just a question of, can they put it all together? Can they put it all together? That's the question at this point.
It's a hell of a question. And you know what? We're going to find out. So, guys, another game today, some easy series coming up. The Yankees have to win these series. Splitting these series is not enough. Losing these series is detriment to their hopes of, winning this division. They need to beat easy teams. And that's what defines great teams versus bad teams. The fact that you can beat the crap out of, beatable opponents and winnable opponents. So, right now we'll see what happens, guys. Always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.